Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I would like to have a look at encryption of home directory in FreeBSD. This is a relatively recent feature and we are going to have a look at it. So let's start by creating a virtual machine. So we go here on virtual box, new machine. Let's call it F142 for FreeBSD 14.2. It's a BSD, FreeBSD 64 bits. And let's put here 4096, 4 gigabytes of memory. That should be good. We create the machine. We're not going to make the machine too big. It's just for a small demonstration. Here, let's look at the settings of the machine in terms of the storage, CD-ROM, and we choose a disk, the FreeBSD 14.2, the DVD. We start the machine and let's get this machine installed. So now we come to the part of adding users, and I'm going to create 3 users. So let's name it as user 1. The user 1 is going to be a user that has no encryption on his home directory. So we just continue here, encryption, no. Everything is fine. We say yes, and we add another user. We're going to add the user number test2, and this user is going to have the password, and so let's see, ZFS encryption, yes. And here is very important, I add 8 or more character passwords. And now we are going to say yes, and the next question that comes is the password for the encryption. And now I enter the same password as before, which is 8 characters or longer. Okay, this is now created, successfully added test2 to the user database. Now we add another user. Let's call it test number 3. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the user, but I'm going to, so the ZFS encryption, yes, password. I'm going to add again 8-character password, but now what is going to happen is I'm going to mistype and I'm going to forget, and I'm not going to type in 8 characters passwords. So let's see what happens. Okay, there are some errors, as we can see. So error setting the permissions on the dataset, etc. Okay, but the user is created. Add another user, no. And let's just exit the system. So shut down the machine. So the first thing that I'm going to show is the following. If I log in as root, there is the home/user1 is currently set to the first user, and this directory is available there. So let's go to home user1 and let's touch unencrypted. So if I look at the directory here, I see this is unencrypted. Let's go back and yeah, actually I made a small mistake. It's user 1 and test2 and test3. It's fine. The video is going to work nonetheless. User test2, touch unencrypted. And for the third, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so we see that /home/user1 is currently mounted in the directory. The other ones are not mounted, are just in the system. So if we log in as user1, and we look at the directory, we see that this is unencrypted, as it should be. Now let's see what happens with test2, with user2. The user2, I configured correctly the password for the user and for ZFS. So okay, so now we are going to try to log in as the test2. And as you can see, we can log in, but let's look at the directory. It is unencrypted. Oh, this is weird. So the directory is not there. Let's try to log in as the third user. And it is unencrypted. How weird. Okay, let's try to fix this. And we do it by logging in as root. And first, let me add the best text editor, Vim. Of course, Vim has to be installed in my system. So let's edit the following file, etc pamd and system. And here we are going to look for the auth, and we're going to add a new one, auth, which is optional, pam zfs key.so, and here we write try first pass with homes equals z root /home, and we put here in the session something similar, but instead of being session is auth is session, optional here, and the try first pass, we don't need it. So here is the line that I've added, and here is the other line that I've added. Okay, now let's try to log in as user2, test2, and hi, this directory is now encrypted. Let's see. Yes, we can see that we have now mounted another user, which is under /home test2. Very good. So we can say touch encrypted. And when we look here, this directory is encrypted. Let's log out and log in as root again. The main issue that we observe here is that the directory is still mounted. So in this case, we could say ZFS and mount / or zroot /home test2. If we look at this directory here, so ls home user, so test2, this is the unencrypted directory. Root, I think, would be able to mount a directory. Let me see. So let's see, ZFS get key status on the root, home, and test2. Here we can see that the current key is not available. So let's see if root is able to mount ZFS dash mount dash L zroot home test2, and I'm asked for the passphrase. If root doesn't know the passphrase, root is not able to see what is in the home directory. Okay, but this means that the user, after logging in, or there should be a script that when logging out the user, that the data set is automatically unmounted. I currently don't know very well how to do this automatically, but let's continue exploring the system. We had a user, a test3 user, that we can log in, and we see that it's unencrypted, the directory. So what happened here is that the user basically mistyped the password and cannot mount a directory anymore. So this means we need to give the user, we need to set a password correctly, and we need to set a password to be equal to the login password. For the user 3 the password was not entered correctly when the system was installed, and this means that the user 3 has no ZFS dataset for the home directory. Let's have a look. ZFS list, and we can see that we have the dataset for the user 1 and for the test 2, and for test 3 we are missing. So let's create it. So ZFS create -o encryption on -o key location on the prompt, the key format passphrase, and the root home test 3. Okay, we put a passphrase. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to put a passphrase that is not equal to the login. So I put 8 characters, and this is now created. So ZFS list. But this means we still have a problem. The login password is not matching the ZFS encryption password. Let's try to log in this user, test3, and we still don't see the actually we do see the okay, I was not expecting this, but yeah, it is okay apparently. So this is touch encrypted. Okay, so this is actually encrypted, the home directory. Now the permissions are not correct. Why is that? Because this belongs to root and will. Okay, root. Now ZFS list. Let's try to fix this. ZFS. So first of all, unmount z root home test 3, and let's give the permissions for ZFS. Allow the test 3 user to create, destroy, to mount, to snapshot, and to load the key on zroot home test 3. All right, so let's now go back and let's try again. Test 3, the password. I can log in. I have the unencrypted directory still. Interesting. So this directory currently is not mounted as it should. And why is this so? This is so because the user doesn't match the password, doesn't match the ZFS password. They are not the same. So there are two ways around this. Either I change the password of the user to match the ZFS encryption password, or I do the other way around. So I want to do the other way around so that we see how to change the password of a ZFS dataset. So root, and here I say ZFS change key. In key format is a passphrase on zroot / home / test3. And now the password I'm going to give is the same one as the user uses for the login. Now they are the same. Key exchange error, key must be loaded. Actually, I didn't like that. So let's log in as root and ZFS. Let's say load key on, probably I need to do this on zroot home test3. So the current passphrase. Okay, now ZFS get key status on zroot home test3. The key status, so the key is available, and when the key is available, ZFS change key, key format equals to passphrase on zroot home test3. Enter the new one, and now it's going to have to match the login password. And now no mistake, no error. So yeah, we can just ZFS unload key. I think this is the unload key on the Z root home test3. And now we can ask the key status is unavailable. That's good, and it's not mounted. Let's go back. Test3. So remember what I've done? I've created the data set. I added the permissions for the user to create, allow, and so on. And I made sure that the password matches the login. So, and now let's see. It is mounted and it is encrypted. Touch encrypted. Okay, permission denied. So for this, let me try to fix that. So login as root and change on test3 with test3 / home test3 because it's still mounted. So let's try to see home test3, and now it belongs to test3. Let's ZFS unmount -u home test3, and hopefully now everything is going to be fine. Test3, we put the password, and now it belongs to me. Touch encrypted. And now finally this folder is encrypted and belongs to the user. All right. Now we saw that the first user, yeah, the directory was created just by itself, and yeah, it's not mounted here. Let's try to, let's say, ZFS unmount slash home user one, yeah, and ZFS destroy home user one. Okay, zroot home user one. Now it's gone. ZFS list, and the user one is gone. So now it allows us to go from the beginning again. So let's do this step by step. The first thing I've done here is not allow, but the create. So yes, create the user one. So create encryption on key location prompt, key format passphrase, zroot home user one. The passphrase is going to be the same as the login for the user one. Otherwise, things will not work. Now I'm going to go back and say I want to give the permission the user one to create, destroy, to mount a snapshot, and etc. So that's it. The etc pam is already etc pamd dot system is already configured, so I don't need to do that. And ZFS list, we have the user one, which is there. And the key status, let's see the get key status of user one is currently available. So ZFS unload key zroot home user one. Okay, it's busy. ZFS unmount dash u. I think the dash u is going to unload the key already on zroot home user one, and the key status is unavailable. Unavailable home user one. We can touch home user one slash unencrypted, and therefore this is unencrypted. Now let's mount, and I forgot to do one thing before, so let's ZFS mount, load the key zroot home user one. Let's put the password, and now home user one, and that was my mistake, is belonging to root and wheel. Ch on user one slash home user one. Now it belongs to user one, and now I'm ready to unmount it. So let's unmount this one. It's no longer available, and the key is no longer available. Get key status unavailable. Now we should be able to, when we log in, we get the directory automatically mounted. So let's go. User one. The login password is matching with the ZFS password, and it is encrypted. So df user one, so touch encrypted, and it belongs to me. How nice is that? Okay, so again, if I log out, I go as root, this directory is still mounted. So let's unmount both. Unmount dash and unload, ZFS unmount and unload the keys on zroot home test 3 and user 1. So now they should be gone. And the key status do I have for user 1 is not there, for test 2 is not there, and for test 3 is not there. Yeah. Very good. Now, the problem is if I try to SSH into the system, I would not be able to mount the volume automatically. So let's first of all uh, go here to the machine. So if config, if if I can type if config. Actually, I don't need an if config. Let's see. Settings on the machine, network, advanced. Let's do a port forwarding and let's add a host port 2222 and the guest port on 2022, which is SSH. And let's now try to log into this machine. So SSH on port 2222. Any of the users is going to be fine because all of them have encrypted directories and this is going to be local host. Okay, we save this and the password for the user, and it's unencrypted the directory. So currently we don't see that it mounted. So that is an issue that even if we try to configure, so let's exit from here and let's go to vim /etc pamd and SSH. Even if we try to put the things here, it will not work. Let's try to do it. So we added the etc pamd on the system. So we had the authentication here that we put the same authentication optional ZFS key, and we had the session. We also had this one here. We put it on the session here. Okay, and now let's try to log in with SSH. So we do the same thing, and yeah, df, and nothing happened. It's still unencrypted. It's currently a bug that you can read on the forums. This is apparently from the people that implement OpenSSH. Doesn't matter. So what happens is that we can have a workaround for that. And the workaround is the following: pkg install doas. We get the doas here, and let's edit the file user local etc doas.conf. We don't need any sample. And let's add the following line: permit no pass, user1 as root command ZFS with args mount -l zroot home user 1. Let's do the same for the test2 and for the other user I created, which was the test3. So we are fine, and we go and we log into the machine. So first, let me show here df. So the nothing is mounted. Okay. We go as user1. Okay, and yeah, I should put the right password, and nothing is still mounted. The problem is still there, but I'm allowed to do a ZFS mount -l zroot on home user 1. I can put my passphrase, and I don't have sufficient privileges. Yes. Oh, of course. I don't need to do this. So I the insufficient privileges because we need to do a do as before. And once we do that, we can see user 1 is there, and now the file system is encrypted. We can also see that from here that user 1 is there. Now look at the nice thing. When I log out, the directory is automatically unmounted. So that is a nice thing. So let's try the test 2. Again, we add the correct password and we see the same problem. So couldn't get the password for PAM. So that is the problem that currently is existing. Otherwise, the configuration in /etc pamd ssh would work. But there is currently a bug. But no problem. We can do a doas ZFS mount load a key on zroot home, and we are the user test2. Passphrase, still need to put a passphrase for the volume, and lo and behold, it's encrypted. Same thing as for the other user. Here the same thing, and let's log out, and this is gone. All right, so I hope that this is good, interesting information for you on how to use encrypted directories on FreeBSD system. If you have some comments or suggestions, please use the space down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day, a nice evening. Take care, all the best, and see you next time. Bye-bye.